And I found it to be interesting because, like so many others, I did not know. So it was about being able to sell life insurance policies. And it's funny because the video was like a 4-minute video. And within a minute, I started thinking, oh, we have an insurance policy. Now, why would I sell that? And by the end of the 4 minutes, Lisa was explaining scenarios of why people would sell them. And so it was, it just gave me a really nice overview. My mind went to, and you were just talking about it, Christine, what people don't know, they don't know. My mind, Lisa, went to, and I was just curious, if you work with people that offer VA benefits, because I know in senior living in different marketplaces, right, the VA benefits are very helpful to elders, but they don't know about it. And I don't know why the correlation just came to mind with what you're doing as I was watching that video. I may be way off base, but I'm like, oh, kind of sort of like the VA benefits in the sense of no one knows these resources are out there. No one knows there are avenues to pursue. And so it was interesting. And, kudos to you with 30 years of experience. And it was a great video. It really just gave me a real snapshot of what you do.
Well, that was very kind of you, Deanna. Yeah, it was a local desert living show, and it was really fun to be on. But back to your point, I'm grateful to be here with Christine. Thank you for the opportunity, and with you, Deanna, as well, because both of us offer solutions for seniors. Typically, our world is a senior world, the way yours is, not always, right? So we're very similar in that. But you're right. People don't know that their life insurance policy is an asset that they own. And as an asset they own, like their car, they can sell it for cash. And so back to your point, Deanna, most of the clients that we work with are not in a place where they need funding like VA benefits. Some do, but most of them are not. It's just a function of they don't want the policy. They don't need the policy anymore. Maybe they can't afford the policy anymore. And instead of walking away with little or nothing, we are a way for them to get more money. So on average, we generate 3 to 5 times what's called cash surrender value. So if someone's going to surrender their policy to the insurance company and get that cash out, on average, we can get them 3 to 5 times that amount by selling it. And we even sell term policies. And real quickly, I don't want to take the whole podcast because that's just rude, but 2.5 million seniors a year will get rid of their life insurance policies, either by lapsing them, meaning that they stop making the premium payments and walk away, or they surrender those policies to get the cash. And back to your point, they don't know that their policy is an asset that can be sold. And so I am here to talk to anybody. Yes, I've talked to people who offer VA benefits. If people are looking for solutions for their long-term care needs, we are another tool in the toolbox, like VA benefits, like reverse mortgages. We're just one more way people can find funding to pay for their long-term care needs as well. Yeah. So back to you, Deanna. I know you're passionate about what you do. Educate me more about you and your product.
Oh, sure. I'm always open to doing that. So I represent Seni, which is actually a brand. Our parent company is a Poland-based large manufacturer of all types of medical hygiene products. So Seni is a premium brand, adult incontinence, pull-ups and briefs. And I always tell people it's the features of the products, full breathability, super absorbency, leak guards, the way that the products are constructed, kind of sort of like a conduit to helping people age longer in place in their homes, wherever home may be for them. And again, the features of the products, they reduce risk clinically of UTIs because of the way that they're constructed. They reduce falls. People say, how could a product reduce a fall? The reality is, if I am going to bed at night and I'm comfortable and I'm dry, hopefully I'm going to sleep through the night. But if you roll back that scenario for someone who has incontinence, if they go to bed at night, and I always tell people, you could take a quarter. If we all took a quarter right now and poured that much water on our seat, just a quarter, chances are we would feel it we would say, I don't like this. And we'd probably go and change and say, we'll be back, Christine, in about 30 seconds to make a quick change. Well, picture multiple quarters, right? People don't feel comfortable. So what happens? They get up. If they get up, they run the risk of falling. If they fall, more often than not, with older adults, we have ugly outcomes. And so, again, the features of our products, keeping people dry and safe at night, it allows them to sleep uninterrupted, which is a big focus, having undisturbed sleep. And then they wake up in the morning. We all know if we have a good night's sleep, we're more alert, we're more engaged, we're happier because we feel good. And that's what I love about my company. For me and my teammates, yes, we're for profit. Yes, we need to sell our product. It's a bigger mission, though. It's a bigger focus. It's helping people. It's changing mindset from just, oh, this is a disposable commodity, a price on a package of products on a shelf. It was saying, this is critical component to the continuum of care, good care, high quality care for people that are challenged. So it's exciting when you hear those great stories. You know, I'm a big story person. I'd love to learn more too, Lisa, about, you know, do you have any stories? I relate well with stories of a client where selling the policy took them from maybe a black cloud to hope. That's how I'm kind of envisioning your products. They take people, what you do, the value, especially older adults. I don't have an avenue to get down. You just provided me hope.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Deanna. Thank you so much for it. We provide money, right? That's what we do. And there's no downside to what we do. Like, all of our clients are happy, right? All of our clients are, because it's a great thing when I can call and say, hey, the wire transfer's on the way, or the check is in FedEx. So it's always hope in that. I just talked to a client last week that had a term policy that was ending, and she wasn't going to continue it in any way. We got her a little bit of money for it. It wasn't a ton of money, but she said, oh, thank goodness you got me out from underneath this life insurance policy that I just didn't need anymore. I mean, something's better than nothing. Conversely, back to your point, we sold a $100,000 life insurance policy for $50,000. And that gave this gentleman the money that he needed to help care for his wife with MS. So, yeah. So we work with policies around $100,000. I'm selling an $80,000 policy right now for $10,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, because a gentleman took out a $30,000 loan. So, and he just can't make those premium payments anymore. And so once again, he's going to walk away with zero. So $10,000 beats zero.
Yeah.
So
Lisa, surrender and selling or sales. Surrender is different when someone surrenders. Is that walking away?
It is. So I'm going to go backstory this a little bit. There are two types of life insurance policies. One is term, and people kind of understand what that is, right? Kind of like renting. You have level premiums for a certain amount of time, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever that is. Term, I think we all understand. The other category, if you will, is called permanent life insurance, and it does exactly what it says it does. It doesn't go away as long as you continue to make those premium payments. But and inside that category, universal life and whole life. So what happens is those two plans are more expensive than term, because, just to make this simplistic, it's a higher premium. What happens is part of that premium payment goes to pay the cost of insurance, like term, right? The other part of it goes into a savings account in the policy called cash value. And that cash value grows over time. But what happens is, as we get older, the cost of insurance goes up, and it starts chewing up that cash value. So where we find our solution working is when people are older, they have little cash left in their policies, and they have to put more money in to continue the policies and keep them going. And they either don't want to or can't. So back to your question, Christine, here's what surrender means. I have a universal life policy, let's just say, and I have cash in it. So I have a $200,000 policy. I have $10,000 of cash in it, right? And my cash is going down every month because the cost of insurance is going up. I can surrender my policy back to the insurance company. And it's exactly what it sounds like. I'm giving my policy back. I'm getting my $10,000 back. So I no longer have insurance, but I have the $10,000 out of the policy. What I am saying is, before someone does that, please look at a life settlement. Please look at selling the policy, because on average, we can generate 3 to 5 times cash surrender value. I'm going to give you an example, and this is one we just completed. The gentleman had $1 million policy. He was well off. Like he didn't need the policy anymore. The policy did its job for 25 years, right? But now they just don't need it anymore. It had $100,000 of cash in it, and he was going to surrender the policy and get that $107,000 out. We sold it for $305,000.
Wow.
So we're here to help clients benefit more than just surrendering or lapsing, which is stop making the pre-payments and letting the policies go, right? And we even sell term. I mean, I've sold a $250,000 term policy for $128,000, which beats the zero the client was going to get when they walked away from it.
Wow. And before I start asking more curiosity questions, yay for Steve Berger. As always on this show, another crash course in really valuable information. I'm excited that both of you carved out this time for everyone, because once this is archived, there are people actually watching that cannot comment or can't be seen on this screen, but they're watching on YouTube. Once it goes and is archived, I send people back there and I get comments all the time on, oh, I just saw this part. What was that? You know, I didn't even know about that. And that's what we were talking about even before we went live, is people don't even know that they can ask this question. Deanna, you said 3 words together that I liked, because when I was a hired in-home caregiver, so here I am coming in a complete stranger, not wearing a doctor's or nurse's uniform, but I am definitely invading families and, you know, being with people at all these moments that for how many decades they didn't benefit from assistance in their just daily taking care of yourself. And I loved that you said medical hygiene products. It just, I don't know, it felt like the kind of words that I looked for when it was just embarrassing to have me invade. And I'm because these products are for incontinence, I'm going to say that it's pretty regular to see tampons in a women's restroom. And I was in our local movie theater, and there was just a little basket with them in there. So there was no machine that you have to put money in, and a little sign that said, please only take what you need. And I'm thinking, I suppose some people grab a whole bunch, but it's the sort of thing that I remember being really embarrassed when commercials came on TV that I felt like were invading my privacy as an adolescent teen girl. I'm like, oh my goodness, everyone in the world knows about this. And oh, the embarrassment of standing up in class and having someone go, oh, there's a red spot on the back of your, pants or whatever.
Yeah. Project
that, and then finally you're at a point where you're like, hallelujah, I'm in menopause. At least I don't have to deal with that anymore. And sometime maybe after that, and obviously incontinence, there's actually a long list that I put together through the years of all the different ways that you would benefit from protection, because you get to feel like you can still go and do stuff. And Deanna, you shared that story with me of human beings, all ages, different situations that were going, we thought we just couldn't do that anymore. We couldn't spend a few hours somewhere, a lot of hours somewhere else. We thought we couldn't. Do you know which story I'm talking about, or do you have several anyway?
We my teammates and I honestly have several, and I think the one that you're talking about, though, that we had spoken about, there's a lovely lady, and she has given me permission over and over to use her name, but her name's Lorena Demian, and she has 3 children, 1 child with special needs, 2 with dementia. She lost a son at 24 years old to pediatric dementia. It was very difficult to get a diagnosis for that young of a person. So her daughter Jessica is 34 years old, and they live in Indiana. And the happy place for those children and Lorena is Disney World. And she had shared with me, we had been on another podcast and shared about free product samples for Senny, and she got some of those samples and a connection was made. And she shared with me it's very difficult to come down to Disney World because you've got an adult in the car and lots of stops and so forth. And I'll never forget the day I got a call, and I kid you not, I picked up the phone. She said, I'm going to Disney World. And it's things like that are just, that's what I mean, that it's everything about the product and the construction, because that's what leads to this. But this is real life of what's the change. And so anyway, long story short, I happen to live outside of the Orlando area, which she didn't even know until recently, but super cool. She came down with her family, and I was able to meet them in one of the hotels in the food court and spend some time. And we've developed a friendship, and I just, she's just always has a smile. She's just a wonderful human being. The products work for her daughter, knock on wood, and they're able to do those types of things. But the stories, I just got one this morning from one of my teammates up in New York about, we met someone at a conference, and the gentleman was looking for products for his mom, and sent a nice note along that they work. So yeah, we hear these, another story that just is, I never would have thought of. I never would have thought of this, but a woman who, her boyfriend has some challenges, and he's in a very high-tech wheelchair. And she called, we sent some samples, and she said to me right out of the gate, nothing works. It's not going to work, but we'll try it. And got a phone call back. I never would have thought of this. You saved me 3 hours of time a day. That's how much time was spent cleaning the chair, showering, bathing, changing it, whatever. So all of these stories continue to come in across the country. And that's for my teammates and I never would have thought. I joined this company 4 years ago. If you'd asked me 4.5 years ago, would I ever thought an adult brief or a pull-up would be so rewarding? But it is because people, to your point, we don't talk about it. I'm convinced, this is just me speaking, I'm convinced if you think about it logically, it doesn't matter where we live. It doesn't matter girl or boy. It doesn't matter economic income. Nothing matters. The common ground we have when we're little, probably the biggest accomplishment that we all get kudos for is, oh, Sally went to the bathroom, went to the potty, right? Yay, yeah. Making the call. Here's your truck. Here's your, we make such a
You woke up dry. Oh.
Such a big deal. And I just think, I wonder, I don't know, I'd love to talk to a psychologist, but I wonder, is that something that's so embedded in us of why there can be so much shame on the other end when someone becomes incontinent? I don't know. But I do tend to think there's something there because it's still such a stigma. And I always think too, all of us right now, right? If we're continent right now, and as we get older in age, if we still have all of our faculties, but have functional incontinence, if our legs just don't work that well and we become incontinent, nothing changes in our mindset if we're still so. That's the empathy that I try to think of people that are older, that are incontinent. It doesn't matter if you're 70, 80, 100, or 105. If you have your faculties, that's a challenge to be able to, feel that in your mind, hey, this is okay. So we're trying to break down those stigmas to say, this is it's uncommon as we age to have incontinence. There's something that causes it. But there should be no shame. There should be no stigmas. And let's discreetly and delicately and professionally help people to feel it's okay. We're here to help. We're here to help that they can continue to live just like we would help with any other chronic condition. So that's kind of our mission.
Lisa, I heard Deanna say, I got to meet them. Here was my opportunity because they were coming to, my neck of the woods. And Lisa, I just assume that everyone that you make them go, yay, and bring them joy, I assume that they walk into your office and sit down across the desk. I literally don't know if you actually do a lot of what you do virtually online with people crossing lines. I don't know if there's a difference from one state or province or country, depending on where they're living, but maybe they used to live in your area. Do you do anything in your job virtually?
Almost all of it.
Almost okay.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah. So you brought up some really good points, but I'm going to go back to Deanna real quickly because Deanna, you brought something up that I thought was really important. When we think of your products, we think of sanitation, right, and hygiene. But you were so kind to talk about this is about fall prevention. This is about a good night's sleep. I wouldn't even have put that together. And what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful holistic solution. Not just the one issue, but multiple issues at the same time. So I just wanted to bring that up. So back to what we do. We are highly regulated by departments of insurance across the country. So I think that's really important that people know that when we sell policies, beneficiaries have to sign off. So everything we do is very, very transparent. And we do operate nationwide. So I have clients across the entire country. Most of our business is done via phone, fax, email, FedEx. So many of our clients, I actually don't meet. I talk to them on the phone, obviously, but we work with a lot of financial advisors and insurance agents as well, elder law attorneys, assisted living communities whose clients are trying to find ways to pay for assisted living or memory care, home care agencies. Once again, clients are trying to find ways to fund home care needs. And this is going to be something a little different. Nonprofits. Why nonprofits? Because, if a donor does not have a policy they don't want or need anymore, this can be a good way to sell the policy and donate the proceeds to their favorite nonprofit, because the proceeds that people get are not restricted in any way. Go on around the world cruise. Do whatever you want to with the money. If I sell my car or my house, I can do anything with the money. It's the same thing. So not only are we legal since 1911, I want people to go, haven't heard of you. Is this like new? No, it's been legal since 1911. The market didn't develop until the mid 80s, but the 80s, it was the Wild West, but there was no regulation. Today, that's kind of creepy on a good day. But fast forward to the big 90s, 2000s, a lot of regulation, thank goodness. With the help of the NAIC, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, Life Insurance Settlements Association, National Congress of Insurance Legislators, all of that has combined to form model language, including contracts of everything we do, and the buyers are regulated as well. This is not your next door neighbor buying your life insurance policy, which once again is creepy on a good day.
Yes. Did you think of that, Deanna? Who pays money for these? Who buys these? Is it an institution, or does George come to you and go, I could really use life insurance. I don't even know. There's so much I don't know. I'm so glad that you're informing me.
Yeah.
Lisa, who buys them?
They typically are institutional money. So hedge funds, mutual funds, college endowment funds. The state of Michigan has $500 million invested in these things. Also, high net worth individuals will do that. However, here's the important part. We work with only licensed, what we call providers. These are entities that provide the money. These are the entities that are regulated by the departments of insurance. We don't work with anybody that's not approved by the Department of Insurance, right? Which is what you want. And what they do is, if I'm a high net worth individual wanting to invest, these providers will do that, but there's a firewall, right? The providers will do the administration, purchase the policy, blah, blah, blah. But there's a HIPAA protections in place for clients. And so the question may become, why in the world do people do this? Why would an institution buy life insurance policies? And there's two answers to the question. What happens is they pay clients cash today, right? They're going to take over the policy. They're going to pay the premiums, and they're going to make themselves the beneficiary. So they're going to own the policy, pay the premiums, and be the beneficiary. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. They're doing it for an investment. But without them, we don't have a way to help clients. So it works out well for both sides, right? They do it as an investment. Obviously, the returns are good. But more importantly, it is a diversification tool. Life insurance policies are not tied to the stock market, the bond market, world events, commodities, not tied to the banking system, right? Not tied to any of it. So they take a small slice of their billions of dollars, literally with a B, and invest it in life insurance policies as a diversification tool. So these are large institutional money typically.
Wow. Can I ask you a question that triggered prior to that? Well, two questions, actually. I'll start in the front end, and then I've got a back end question. Do you have a recommendation for either an age or a scenario when people should start looking at buying a life insurance policy on the front end?
That's a good question. So I'm going to, Deanna, I am not a financial advisor. And this is going to sound funny. I'm not a life insurance professional. Like, I am a licensed life insurance agent, but I don't have that background. And so I am the wrong person to ask that question. But I will tell you this. I believe in life insurance. I have it. My husband has it. I do believe in life insurance. I think life insurance is really important. So talk to your financial advisors, everybody who's listening, talk to your life insurance agents, and figure out what the right timing is for you. I've had life insurance forever. But I also believe that when it comes time where I may not need my policy anymore, then I believe that selling it can be a good option. So let me give an example. My husband and I have life insurance policies on each other. If I pass away, right, he obviously receives my death benefit, but he's got a life insurance policy with me as a beneficiary. Does he need it? No. Why should he continue paying it, right? So there's another scenario where it makes sense. Policies become too expensive. My term policy is ending. I'm trying to find ways to pay for assisted living. My estate is no longer subject to estate taxes. I have a business. I have sold or retired from my business. I don't need this key person policy anymore. There's literally 2.5 million reasons a year, because that's how many people, right, will get rid of policies. But back to your point, Deanna, the key word for us, these buyers are typically looking for clients, bluntly, with 10 to 15 years of life expectancy or less, sometimes 20. Because if I'm 30 years old and running marathons, they don't want to wait 60 years, bluntly, for their return. So what happens is, the longer my life expectancy, the less money my policy is worth, because the buyers, frankly, are going to have to wait that long. So typically we're talking about the senior market. Not necessarily. We have clients in their 50s, but the older I am, I'm 70, 75, 80, I can be pretty healthy and fit in that life expectancy window. The younger I am, the more health impairments I need to have to fit in that life expectancy window. So we do have clients in their 50s, but they have health issues. Did I answer your question?
Wow. Yes. So oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They become the new
Well,
beneficiary. I mean, I'm just going ding, ding, ding. They're the new, so your husband doesn't need it anymore. So now it's still based upon his health and his, according to statistics, he should live this many more years. And bluntly, as you said, am I getting this right? He will probably only live this much longer. That's when we're going to collect as the new beneficiary. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, you've got it just right. So what happens is our process is like selling a house, right? So we're actually an asset sale. The asset happens to be insurance, but we are an asset sale. So we have to get a client's medical records. That is how these buyers will evaluate what the life expectancy is. I parallel this to selling a car. When you sell your car, you get a lump sum of cash. You sign the pink slip over to the new owner, right? And they drive away. It's really similar. In our world, clients receive a lump sum of cash. They sign the pink slip, i.e. change of ownership form, over to the buyer. And once again, that buyer now owns the policy, pays the premiums, and receives a death benefit. I can transfer ownership, either one of you right now, of my life insurance policy. It's no big deal. It happens all the time. Each insurance company has their change of ownership form, and I just sign it, and you now own my insurance policy, and you can do with it whatever you want. Didn't know that, huh?
Yeah. You're just like, I'm so proud that I got one thing right. I'm just like, but there's so much more to it. And I'm excited that I know we're not anywhere near done at all, because Deanna, I want you to describe the one major reason, or if there's several that go together, why Seni does work when someone says nothing works. There will always be overflow. There will always be leaks. There will always be, didn't make it even, 5 hours or whatever. I was going to have each of you say right now, to make sure that it's on the replay, how people get a hold of you, because I'm very excited that people can get a hold of Lisa from far away and get everything taken care of just as much as somebody who it's a short drive to where she's sitting right now, which might be her home, might be her office. I don't need to know which it is, but that she does do this all the time. And yay, and it's legal. And I'm like, I didn't even think that would be a question, but it could be for a person going, why have I not heard about this? Is this kind of an under the table thing? Yeah. But go ahead, and each of you give your contact information, and we might do it at the end too, because you guys deserve more good stories from people going, I had no idea that, my life expectancy or my health or whatever would make a difference in this. I thought this was a bad thing, and it turns out it actually has a benefit back to me because I've been good and I've made my payments. So Lisa, let's start with you. Just give all your information right now. We're not ending the show, but I just want it there to make sure that somebody goes, oh, good, I didn't have to wait to the end. Go ahead.
Okay.
How do they get a hold of you?
So first of all, you can Google me, right? I'm on LinkedIn. But my phone number is 714 area code 349-7981. I'm going to repeat it real quick. 714-349-7981. My email is really easy, and don't laugh. It's LREHBURG@AOL. I know, I've just had it forever. Everyone's got it. So it's LRayberg@AOL, and my website is rayberglifesettlements.com.
Because it's AOL, and that isn't, maybe it's not the trending thing, but about trends, they come back around again.
I
Maybe it's
know.
gonna
In
be
some
like,
weird
you know
way, we're kind of
what?
cool. We're kind of different.
Where's
Kind of
my
cool.
AOL? I want to be retro here.
Yeah.
So say it again. The L as in Lisa, and
Yep.
then is it Rayberg? Is that
Yep,
how you
my
say
last
it?
name. So L Rayberg at
REHBURG.
At AOL. Yep. First initial, last name at AOL.
Ah, what about you, Deanna? How would people get a hold of you and go, I need something that works? Oh, if it's
I'm
freezing
having
a little
some
bit, so start
noise.
again. Go ahead.
It's so my cell phone is 850-503-7534. Can you that okay? Yes. And then my email is Deanna, DEANNA dot Vigliotta, V as in Victor, IGITA at TOSA.com. So it's Deanna.Vigliotta at TZMOU. Can you hear me?
You know, it just keeps freezing up. And don't you know, it's right now that it's freezing up when you're saying something where one has to. But we'll just do it. We'll just do it again. We'll do it again at the end as well. So why does Seni work? Is there more than one reason?
Several reasons. Yes. Why does Seni work? Well, number of products are fully breathable. Our whole line is fully breathable. What that means is skin should not break down. So the integrity of skin, because vapors in the skin can breathe back and forth. That's a real big plus to have a fully breathable product. And then we have our leak guards, and you had mentioned it, Christine, keeping people from bladder leaks at night. And again, during the day as well. But when they don't have bladder leaks, they're dry, they're comfortable. So our leak guards are super important. We also super absorbent products that we can destroy the night. So we have a full line, everything from light to moderate to heavy to severe. We're very focused on individualized continence care. Lisa, if she's incontinent, may have moderate incontinence. I may have incontinence product for different people. And that's and then we tie educate to it. You have to activate a brief. You have to separate the leak guards. You have to understand and fit and absorbency levels. So all of those things tied together, great production helps people. And that's what we believe is our differentiator. And free products help people to try them. We say, please try them first. See if they fit. See if it's the right.
Free samples. Free samples are people like, oh, I'll take a free. It's free. But there's a reason why. You're not just saying, hey, take some free ones and then maybe you'll come back. And Deanna, for some reason, it's still cutting out here and there, but I did hear you say you're educating the user. You're educating the one who may be assisting with someone who has movement. They just need help moving. I, as an in-home caregiver, I didn't want to cause more pain for my person. And so the less moving around, but keeping skin integrity. So we're not dealing with, infections and discomfort. Oh, so important. And it is saving the body of the caregiver, because it's just a fact that caregivers can wear out and become injured and become unable to even have time to heal from their injury, because they are just working up in the middle of the night. You think, oh, how difficult it is to be a nurse in the middle of the night, going from room to room, bed to bed. Well, then you have to be a nurse during the day too, if that person relies upon you just to do their daily activities. And when you said that person said, you just saved me 3.5 hours a day, you had told me earlier that person also said, I'm just meticulous. I don't want the germs. A lot of people don't want the smell. They can't deal with the smell, and it affects the relationship. It's like you walk into the room and here's a fully aware human being looking at this other person who makes that, the furniture, and the relationship suffers when there's, they know I'm just a burden, or you're attaching something that I can't have control over to what we're just talking about during the day. And it's just, I think about so many situations that could have been improved and saved, I know what, Deanna, didn't you, forgive me if this is wrong, is there also a measuring aspect of getting the right undergarment?
Great question. Yes, it's super critical to get that right fit. So we ask people, if they want a sample, to provide us with the correct hips and waist size, brand to brand to brand. And there's lots of them out there. Sizing can vary. So for any brand product, if we have the right hip size and weight, we're able to match that with our different absorbency levels and styles of products and be able to get that proper fit. But that is a great point. And just to piggyback, Christine, when you talk about the caregivers and how that relationship can be strained, if you think about it, don't quote me 100%, but gentlemen that are caring for spouses, for their wives at home, often it's the one or two number reason why they start to look at transferring into an assisted living for their loved one, because of the changing. They can't do it anymore. They don't want to do it anymore. And with Seni products, it's 3 to 4 changes a day, 3 to 4. I mean, that reduces that from 6, 7, 8, 9. We hear stories. That's keeping people together longer. So when you talk about relationships, sometimes it's the difference where we've been married for 50 years, we've been married for 60 years. We can stay together a little bit longer. Which again, if you're not in the trenches of this, what you don't know, you don't know. It kind of ties back to Lisa's offering and a lot of offerings out there. What we don't know, we don't know. But that's another outcome. We can keep people together longer by virtue of a high quality product when someone's incontinent.
Lisa, I used to read magazines a lot more. I think they were in waiting rooms, and I was with clients or I was with my children in waiting rooms, and I would open a magazine and I would see a recommendation that you take out a life insurance policy on your child. And you have already stated you are not a life insurance salesperson, correct? Do you ever deal with that? Do you ever, maybe the child is now an early teen or something, and here's a parent that needs money or something. Does that ever come into play in your company?
I have actually talked to the children, right? Where the child's now 40. Seriously.
Oh, of course.
45. I talked to a gentleman who was literally 70, and his mom took a life insurance policy out on him, obviously a long time ago. The answer to the question is, I've talked to those. It doesn't happen a lot, but I have talked to several, and it's based upon the insured. So typically we don't work on those cases because if somebody's 40 years old, right? They're the insured on the policy. It doesn't matter who owns it. Usually mom or dad own it. And the insured is the child. Unless the child has significant health issues, once again, that's typically not our world because the insured's too young and typically healthy. So what I have seen happen, though, I was telling you about a gentleman who's like 70 years old. What happened is mom transferred the ownership of the policy to him. So now not only is he insured at 70, he also owns the policy at 70. And we did actually work on it because, once again, it's based upon the insured.
Oh, this is just proof that you should always consult a professional, because I'm just like, I'm catching enough of this to be dangerous. Like someone would say, "Oh, what did you learn from that?" And then I would start telling them, and then I think I've got that right, or I guess it, it's like consult a professional. And
Yeah.
both of you are professionals, not just because you get paid when you show up for work or you make a sale. You are both professionals. You really know about all this. I'm glad. I'm really glad that I got into the caregiving world because I was asked so many questions, and the result is what's happening right here, is that I didn't have the answers. I showed up. I knew what someone was doing at another house or had done several years ago that helped in a situation. It made the person more safe, or I was advised by people, and so I would say to a family member, maybe someone my own age, and we're both at different hours of the day and week, providing assistance for someone who may be in their 90s, and that person asking me, how do I, what about me when I get to be this age? And I thought, gee, I wish somebody out there had thought of this before. and I mean, there's actually books that are titled that have been out for years, like who's going to take care of me when I'm old is like the name of one of the books. And I'm just going, how do we get this out there more? And it was my husband who produces this show, who makes sure that all these things happen and that it's available in the future, who said, what do you want to do with all these questions and the answers that you're discovering? And I thought I should, teach a seminar in a senior facility, somewhere. And he's going, oh, this could go a lot farther. And I'm always thanking him for putting me in this situation, because dragging me into on screen, because I have met people like you who are willing to put information out there. I'm not paying you for doing this. I do hope that somebody contacts each of you in some moment and maybe even says, hey, I saw you on Aging Better Network, and you can go, hey, that was worth it. But you're willing to put information out there so people can say, I need to ask the right question. Are there products that do work because of the way they're constructed and the way that they will, give me opportunity to be fitted correctly? Is there something else that could happen with life insurance that I just really needed to know at the get-go? And here you are. I get really excited because I throw out these invitations and you show up and you are just you're both smiling. I looked out the screen and I'm like, oh, they're both smiling. I was like, I can't believe there's so many nice people in the world that are so smart and have all this good information. And so I have huge plans to continue on making this available so that even you can say, Aging Better Network, just look there. Here's her face. There's these buttons. You push on that and you go, I learned something today. I'm really glad. I feel smarter. I feel like I have control over my own aging just a little bit better. And I'm not so inclined to just go, I don't want to hear about any of that stuff until I'm in emergency mode. Because that doesn't work for me. You know that before we started, I was like, why is the screen black? And I panic and I can't even think to just click my own calendar and find the right, because, it's not my best moment when I'm in panic mode. So,
Christina, back to your point, I think, first of all, I'll be, Deanna, I'm going to bring you in this too. Yeah. Both Diana and I are delighted to be here, right? Absolutely. It's a joy and a privilege to be here. And thank you for what you do, Christine, because the reality is we're here to just educate people on what we do so that they have the information to be able to make the right decision for them and their family. That's what this is about. So if somehow, some way, back to your point, whether I get business or not, that's not the point. The point is, this is here. People should speak to their financial advisors, insurance advisors, or me or whoever. And Deanna, I know you feel the same way.
Yep.
And that way they have the information and can make an educated decision about what's right for them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm just going to piggyback, Lisa. Yeah, absolutely, Christine. So appreciative. I've listened to, a few more of yours since we just met, fairly recently or whatever, but this is an amazing resource. Kudos to you. You should stand in the mirror and say, I am doing amazing things, because again, you're the conduit here, getting all the people together for the resources. And I think we all know this world could probably use double the resources, triple the resources. So we need a lot of resources, but we also need the platforms to get that information out. And by virtue of you doing what you're doing, it's just amazing. So yeah, I'm grateful. I'm super grateful. It's a wonderful opportunity. And I like you both. It's fun. We're having conversation. Right?
I love this. And you are not the first person who has called me a conduit. I love being the bringer of good news and the transporter of, I wish I had known that, but boy, am I going to act on that now. Steve Berger said that the aging movement, the Aging Better movement, is really an organic grassroots process. Don't you feel like you're just fighting your way through the bushes and you're just going, I'm going to get this information out there. I'm going to help people to understand. I'm going to educate. I'm going to give them power. I'm going to make them go, oh, I am so relieved. I'm so, get on the phone. I'm going to Disney World. So many great solutions coming together. Problems that some people have right now, had in the past. Their neighbor, their friend, their cousin is going, the hardest thing, and I'm ashamed to say it, but the hardest thing is, what do I do about finances? I mean, all I've got is an insurance policy. And what do I do about this, situation now that these, diseases, injuries, procedures, conditions have taken a chunk out of life, and no product is working. And they're just like, I'm just kind of, and it's just like, I'm so glad we're shouting it from the rooftops. There are solutions. So would you please both say your information again. How do people contact you, find you? What do they dial? You both gave your phone numbers. You are serious about helping people. I'll just say, Deanna, let's start with you this time.
Sure. So just to give my cell again, it's 850-503-7534. I would encourage people to take a peek at our website. It's very robust with information, as well as being able to request free samples. And we have a tool on there where they can actually put in some information about waist size, hip size, light, moderate, what type of incontinence, what do they need? And we can help guide with samples. So that website is www.seni, SENI-USA.com. And we've got phone numbers to our offices in Atlanta. And I'm Deanna, DEANNA Vigliotta, VIGLIOTTA at TZMO USA. TZMO is our parent company. So thank you.
And Lisa, you're welcome. And Lisa?
Lisa Rayberg. My phone number is 714 area code 349-7981. 714-349-7981. My email is my first initial and last name at AOL. So it's LREH, B as in boy, URG as in George at AOL.com. And my website is RaybergLifeSettlements.com. And Google me. I'm on LinkedIn. Not hard to find me. My last name is pretty unique.
And you have a cool video.
Thank you.
Cool video. And thank you again, Christine. Just a pleasure, truthfully.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad we had this time together. That's what Carol Burnett used. Did
Yes.
either of you ever watch Carol Burnett?
Yes, I have the DVD set. Seriously. We just watched it about 6 months ago. They are so funny. Yeah, she has the ear. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we'll sing our way out. And my hubby producer, D. Scott Smith, motivational listener, who is involved in other kinds of shows, not the least of which is that he is an Amazon influencer, is going to throw that picture across the screen. Can you sing with me? I'm so glad we had this time together, just to have a laugh and sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before we know it, comes the time we have to say so long, so long. And Carol would always yank her ear.